as much as you've gotten in here, is there anything that you were sad you had to cut? Any darlings you had to, kind of...
I think honestly the stuff that we ended up cutting was for the better. I think the game actually ended up probably being a little bit better for the last. We ended up cutting 2 chapters out of the game that we ended up kind of cutting. The last 2 chapters of the game were going to be more of a horror focus. The game was kind of going to pivot to being more of a horror game towards the end, and I'm glad we decided to pivot away from that and have it kind of be more like a actiony bank heist type thing for the last chapter. I think that was a much better way to conclude the game than sort of the original kind of big scale horror set piece that we wanted to do for the last chapter. That ended up being much better. So I think the only thing that I do regret that we didn't get in there is because that last chapter was supposed to be kind of more of a Mad Max style thing. We did have more of like a Mad Max like car chase type thing planned for one of those levels that we just didn't have time to get in there. We had a train sequence we wanted to get in there too, but I think the game's we just didn't have time for it, and I think with our gameplay style, we don't think there's a way we could have worked that in as successfully.
Every retro FPS needs to have a train level. I mean, have you thought like if you were to spin things off, maybe make a kind of horror sort of version of the concept, or a full-on Mad Max version of it? Have you thought beyond? Oh, no pun intended, right? Have you thought beyond the sunset?
Yeah, we've talked about that. Yeah, Beyond Sunset 2, Beyond Sunset. We have
Sunset.
Yeah. We've talked about. We have some other projects and things that we're kind of cooking up right now. We definitely want to move past Beyond Sunset and work on other things at this point. This project has been going on for a very long time, and we definitely want to do our best to support and maintain it for the next couple of months and get it to a place where we're happy enough with where it is and move on from it for sure. Yeah. We definitely took more time on it than we would like to have, and it definitely came out in a little bit more of an incomplete state than we would have liked. But we had to basically draw the line at some point and say this needs to be done. We need to get this out the door. It's a little bit rougher of a launch than I think we would have liked. But that being said, I think the cuts that we made were a good thing, and I think looking forward to the future, I think with the gameplay systems and the gameplay mechanics that we have right now, this particular style of game, because I don't think we've ever made any secret of the fact that we're very much kind of borrowing pretty heavily from Doom Eternal. This particular style of gameplay is sort of fallen out of favor with a lot of people. It is remarkable how quickly people's opinion online shifted from Doom Eternal is great to fuck Doom Eternal. So we are going to change. We're kind of going to move with the times and not revisit that particular well again. So I think we're going to move on to something different.
So looking back after a year away, what part would you say you're the proudest of about this game?
Me, I think if you ask everybody on the team what they're most proud of, you will get a different response. So I'm very, very proud, first of all, of my team members who did some absolutely stellar work on this. Roth did an absolutely bang-up job with the last chapter of the game, Episode 4, since he was pretty much the one who completed the game. He brought it to market. His whole vision of the desert levels, the kind of the Utah level, was very creative, very just visually stunning. The whole canyon lands, the kind of canyon city, Cyber Verde, very, very cool stuff. Just stunning work. It plays great. I think it's probably the best level in the game. He did a phenomenal job with that. In terms of my own work, I think the thing that I am probably most proud of is that I did the demo, the first episode of the first chapter of the game. I think that's probably some of my best work on display there. I think that still holds up pretty well.
I thought that it was quite a little complete package, that demo actually is. I mean, for the longest time, of course, it was what we had access to until the early access came out. But the demo, it had a beginning, a middle, and an end. So I thought that it was a really good slice of what the game was going to be bringing things. Yeah, it was really
Yeah, and interestingly enough, the demo was actually one of the things that got made sort of after most of the rest of the game. So it was after we had a lot more practice. So, I mean, I think looking back at it, I think episode 1 of the game is probably the weakest chapter in terms of gameplay, just because that one was the one we were still trying to figure out things like what we wanted the game to be. I think episode 1 probably visually is the best looking, just because it's kind of got that Blade Runner-y, cyberpunk city kind of neon look onto it. I think it's very striking, very vibey level.
very marketable.
Yeah, it looks cool, but in terms of the gameplay, it definitely is a little bit, I think, probably the weakest of all the chapters. And that's where we started. That was the one we built first, and that was the one that was, again, probably has the weakest gameplay. But that was the one where we were figuring things out. But the demo, I think the demo we built that after we built episode 1, and the demo, again, that was kind of a solo thing for me. I built by myself, and that one I think probably has some of the best gameplay I made for the game. So, very, very proud of that. And of course, obviously, Carl, very proud of the work he did. His soundtrack is absolutely essential to the game. I think without that, none of the atmosphere we were trying to create, that retrofuturism, wouldn't have been nearly as. I think visually the game is perfect. I don't think I would change anything about the graphics that we made for the game. I think we pretty much hit exactly what we set out to achieve with that.